Welcome back to Mock the Mock, where we take a look at someone else's mock draft, and I'll mock and give you my views, thoughts, and opinions. And we got a great one on tap for you today as we check out the GOAT, the old head himself, Mel Kiper Jr. and his new mock draft. So without further ado, let's go ahead, get into this sucker. Don't know if there's trades. Guess we'll find out. But at number one, the Chicago Bears are going to be taking Caleb Williams. I don't disagree with this much. I think if the Bears stay put at one, you go ahead and take one of the toolsiest quarterbacks we've seen in quite some time in Caleb Williams. Question is, what do they do with Justin Fields? We've heard like Falcons, Steelers is some of the teams that have been floated around when it comes to a trade, but in all honesty, we won't know what happens until it happens. But hey, Caleb Williams at the podium was like, I'd be happy to be a Chicago Bear. So run with that as you may, because it's all just smoke and mirrors at this point. Going to number two, we got Jaden Daniels, who's becoming a hot name to the Commanders as of late. And let me read this one here. I'm sticking with Daniels here over Drake May, though it's tight. Several NFL teams have May over Daniels on their board. 2 months out from the start of round one. I love Daniels' fit with the new Commanders offensive coordinator, Cliff Kingsbury. Okay, there we go. So we're trying to draw dots and connect best fits here. I'm one of those guys that still have Drake May over Jaden Daniels. Is it a big difference? I don't think it's like a huge difference, but I think I would still weigh with Drake May. I just think with him the tools are a bit better. With Jaden Daniels, you have a guy that's consistently gotten better year after year after year, but it's been like very marginal, right? And then this season, he takes this huge leap. The guy won the Heisman. With Drake May, honestly, the last couple of years have been pretty high-end, top-notch. Sure, there's plenty of things that are like, yeah, he needs to rework this side of his game and whatnot. But for me, it's like, I would take Drake May. But I'm not going to front. I do think Jaden Daniels is a top 10 prospect. Let's move to number three. Do we take wide receiver or do we take Drake May? We take Drake May, so we're going 3 quarterbacks off the rip here. Patriots, they definitely need a quarterback. They do have other needs, obviously, but you got to ask, like, is your team going to be up in the top 3 next year? Are you really going to get ahead and try to start projecting the 2025 quarterback class? Like, one way or another, you got to figure out what you're doing at the quarterback position. And I really don't think the best course of action is to stick with Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi, as a matter of fact. So if they are going to get something done, they should probably make some sort of move in free agency, maybe Russell Wilson. I think Kirk Cousins is probably going back to the Vikings, but maybe he doesn't. But Drake May would be, I think, an awesome pick here for the Patriots. And they could definitely fill in a lot of those needs and free agency. They got a lot of cap space. It could be a very quick turnaround for the New England Patriots. So Arizona Cardinals, I imagine this is Marvin Harrison Jr. Hey, it's Marvin Harrison Jr. Of course, you just take the best prospect on the board, maybe the best prospect in this draft class. Marvin Harrison is fantastic. They need more wide receivers, especially if they're going to invest in Kyler Murray. At number 5, Los Angeles Chargers, no trades yet. J.C. Latham, butter my biscuits. We got a new OT1? Okay, let's read this one from Mel. All right, so he's a big, literally, deviation from my debut mock draft when I projected the Chargers take tight end Brock Bowers in January. It was before they had hired Jim Harbaugh as their new head coach. And we should know from Harbaugh's time with the 49ers and at Michigan that he wants to build through the line, through the trenches, which means starting with the 300 pounders. All right, so then he starts talking up Latham a little bit. This is a little bit of a reach in my rankings. Latham is 22 on my big board, but he's a nasty run blocker, which is why I see a fit for him in this offense. Wow, man. Like, I think you still go Joe Alt. Like, let's not act like Joe Alt's some trash run blocker. All he can do is pass protect. That ain't the case. He's really good in that regard. He really is. So this is definitely an interesting one. It's a wild ride, but yeah, I mean, JC Latham's higher on my board than 22, so to each their own. The New York Giants go with Rome Odunze again, for maybe a spot I would go Malik Neighbors, but to each their own. The Giants are coming off a disastrous season in which they ranked 29th in points scored per game on offense, 30th in yards per play, 32nd in sack rate per dropback. That was with only 6 games from Daniel Jones, though, and the quarterback should be recovered from the knee injury by the start of the 2024 season. So what is the best way to make sure it doesn't happen again? The Jets get Jones some help. They have too many number 2 and 3 wide receivers. Fact. So they go for a number 1. I still think I like Malik Neighbors better here. I think Malik Neighbors is just a lot closer to Marvin Harrison than he is to Rome Odunze, but maybe there can be a little bit of opposite of separation. Maybe you could close the distance because Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr. are choosing to run at their pro days. So Rome Odunze has a chance to really, really just put himself on a pedestal there at the combine. All right, we got pick 7. This is an interesting one for the tight ends. It could be Joe Alt, it could be Malik Neighbors. I think it's one of those two, though. It's Joe Alt. You stick with the offensive line. Yeah, build around poor Will Levis, who was just picked apart last year by a very porous offensive line. I imagine they're also going to make some strides in free agency to help get that line just better, help get better in the trenches, because you want your seemingly franchise quarterback to succeed, right? So, yeah, Joe Alt is kind of the pick here. Atlanta, what are they going to do, man? This is a J.J. McCarthy guy. Do they go defense? Malik Neighbors is there. There's a lot of, like, this pick 8 suddenly for the Falcons, it's like, you can do a lot of things without really having to move. They go Dallas Turner. Okay. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of the less spicy of the options I threw out there. I love the Malik Neighbors fit, but I mean, then the question is still what you doing at quarterback. You could go J.J. McCarthy. I think is a little spicy because I don't think he's a guy you want to start right away. So maybe it's too spicy. But they grab Dallas Turner. They need edge help. It kind of makes sense. So tis what it is. Tis what it is. But hey, we got the combine coming up in the next few days, and I'm going to be doing a lot of data input on my draft guide because my draft guide gives you pro day combine numbers. Listen, I know you love the NFL draft as much as I do, and you're going to want a nice hefty watch list of players during this college football season. Well, go ahead, check out my draft guide. You can purchase it for only $30 by Venmoing or PayPaling me. Links in the description. It's a one-time payment and you get it for this whole draft cycle and forever and always. Technically, it's a Google spreadsheet. So send me your email when you send the payment. I'll get you hooked up. You will see my current prospect rankings and big board, my full evals. And guess what? It updates throughout the whole draft cycle. So it's a great purchase and it's a great way to support the channel. Pick 9, Chicago Bears go with Malik Neighbors. Golly, would this be a freaking dream scenario? Boy, it would be a dream scenario. Malik Neighbors were to just fall into the lap of the Chicago Bears. You get to pair him up with DJ Moore, and now Caleb Williams just has very scary weapons to work with there. I love it. Pick 10, Jets go with Brock Bauer, or let's see what they do, because that offensive line is not in great shape. They released Lincoln Tomlinson just yesterday. So Like I feel like this kind of should be offensive line, especially since your next pick isn't until the third round. How much? I'm gonna be frank. Tackle is gonna be much more valuable than what Brock Bowers would probably bring to this Jets team, because the Jets, they need some guys up front. They need someone to protect Aaron Rodgers. There's some solid tight ends they could maybe get later in the draft. And if we're going to be honest, like some of the top tight ends in the league, they're not first rounders. They're not Travis Kelce, Sam Laporta. What was even Mark Andrews was a second round pick? Like, seems to be the fact of the matter. Minnesota Vikings, they go Jared Verse, so no JJ McCarthy yet. Okay, but I do think this is probably where Kirk Cousins does end up coming back. I don't know. We'll find out, man. We'll find out. But the edge is definitely the biggest position in need outside of that quarterback position, just because, I mean, you got Neil Hunter, free agent. You got DJ Wonnum, free agent. Marcus Davenport, free agent. You guessed it. So, yeah, they need to retool that edge position. Moving to pick 12. It's JJ McCarthy to the Broncos. I mean, I love Bo Nix as a fit, but I also understand JJ McCarthy being this very moldable guy that you bring in. He's young. He's got a lot of tools. And Sean Payton's just like, yes, I will build him into my perfect quarterback. So I see a lot of that potentially happening. It's just, I don't know if I'm going to start him right away there in Denver. But, I mean, at least you're going to have a good offensive line in front of them. That probably won't be able to keep Lloyd Cushenberry, so they got to figure out the center position. They could probably use a little bit more weapons. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see with the Broncos. Las Vegas Raiders go with Byron Murphy. I think he's going to blow up the combine. I think he might get into top 10 status, man. We might be talking about him as a potential just top 10 pick, man. He could have a studded week. Truly can, man. This is a cat that is just a disruptor for days, whether it's the run game, the pass game. He's in the backfield and he is causing chaos. I like the fit because, I mean, the Raiders, Adam Butler is a free agent. You want to grab more horses there on the defensive interior. He is a horse. New Orleans Saints, they go Olu Fashanu. This is probably their biggest need with the uncertainty with Ryan Ramczak's knee. Trevor Penning just hasn't been great. Missed his whole rookie year and then only played, few games last year before essentially getting benched. I think he was a little banged up too, but you might just have to cut your losses at that point with that. So, I mean, yeah, it's offensive line is kind of the way to go for the Saints. All right, we got the Colts. They do go with the first corner off the board. It is Terrion Arnold. It's a good fit. A guy that can play inside and out. They have yet to re-sign Kenny. Well, they haven't done anything with Kenny Moore yet. So I'm curious if they end up keeping him. Arnold gives them inside-outside flexibility. So even if they do keep Moore, I mean, it's the cornerback position they need. You want to have depth. You want to have competition. You want to have talent at the corner position. It is the most volatile position in the NFL. All right, Seattle Seahawks. This is always a fun one. We got Troy Fautanu. Ooh, okay. Basic. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Damian Lewis is a free agent. Phil Haynes, free agent. Evan Brown, he's a center, but free agent. I mean, yeah, I get it. Ryan Grubb, this was a guy he had on the offensive line. You got the Washington connection. Oh, but you got to think there's something. Like, you got to think you could probably trade back and still get this cat. I don't know. I'm not in love with a guard selection. They pick 16. Like, I'm just not high on Fautanu like that. I feel a lot better about taking him outside of the top 20. It's probably the sweet spot. So we're talking back into the first round. So kind of is what it is. But before we get into pick 17, let me give a shout out to Underdog of Fantasy. When you sign up using promo code Broshmo, they will match your first deposit up to $100. Dudes, I know the football season's over, but they do all kinds of sports. They do the NFL, they do the NBA, MLB, they do it all. They even do some college sports. So check them out. They do freaking esports. It's wild. It's wild. But they do weekly best ball. They got higher, lower on player prop bets. It's a real fun way to make a little moolah. But please, bet responsibly. Bet within your means. Be smart. Be wise. Pick 17, Jacksonville Jaguars. And it's Quinion Mitchell. Right now, the most popular picks are Brian Thomas, Quinion Mitchell. I think those are usually the two players I see going to the Jags, with the occasional maybe Jackson Powers Johnson, or maybe even a Troy Fautanu potentially. But I like Quinion. He's gonna be a good fit for Ryan Nielsen's defense there. I'm kind of curious what happens with Darius Williams being more of an off coverage corner, because he's a little bit undersized. I mean, he's on the last year of his deal anyway, so it's just a little interesting to see how he will fit. But dude's a good player anyway. But Quinion Mitchell, great fit. Pick 18, Cincinnati Bengals, Talisa Fuaga. No duh. The Bengals need a right tackle. They get it here in Fuaga. I did a little experiment in my 7-round mock draft, which you can check that out. I'm gonna put it in the iCard or somewhere. But I did a 7-round mock draft where I went through every team in their draft class, and I experimented with the Bengals in terms of okay, what if we go elsewhere? What if we don't take tackle? Because I'm always taking tackle for the Bengals in the first round. What if we don't do it? And it literally becomes just kicking a can down the road, because the value is never right in the second round. It's never right in the third round. And then you get to day 3 and it's are we really going to find a starter at right tackle on day 3? So that's why I think it's just the value is so good here. So do it. Send it. Okay, so that's 4 tackles off the board. Pick 19, Cooper DeJean going to the Rams. Won't be testing out, still rehabbing and preparing. Going to prepare to run at his pro day. But yeah, the Rams, they could definitely use more. When it comes to the cornerback room, they either have size or they have speed. But they never have the two together. Either you're big and you're slow, Arion Kendrick, or you're small and you're fast, Trey Tomlinson, Kobe Durant. So yeah, probably get in someone who is both big and fast in Cooper DeJean. Might be nice. And shoot, even if you see him as a better safety at the NFL level, Jordan Fuller's a free agent. All right, we got pick 20, Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, I'm excited because they did not take Jackson Powers Johnson. What are we going to see from my Dolphins? They take Nate Wiggins. Yeah, you kind of want to pair up Joey Porter Jr. with just a good corner. Nate Wiggins is kind of that. Guys, he's got good size at 6'2". He's 185, but he's also the youngest corner in this class, so he's going to put on the weight. I'm not worried about that. Very good athlete. So you just form a very, very formidable tandem there in Pittsburgh. Though this could be a Jackson Powers Johnson pick as well. It's not out of the woodhouse. Remember, they did cut Mason Cole. Miami Dolphins? Freaking Graham Barnett? Come on. Okay, listen. I hate that I do this. I like Graham Barnett as a prospect. I don't know why. I don't really ever think of Graham Barnett until probably the earliest is the Tampa Bay pick, right? Where I think he could maybe play guard. Technically, or center. I mean, Robert Hainsey's also a guy that could play multiple spots. But that's the earliest I'm thinking of him. Any earlier than that, and I'm just kind of ugh. Which is not entirely correct. Like the dude is, in my opinion, he's a top 40 player in this class, which means he is in the running here at pick 21. So no disrespect, big fan of Graham Barton, man, but as a Dolphins fan who loves Jackson Powers Johnson, I'm not saying I was one of the first guys on him, but I would have loved to have him here. I get it, the versatility is nice, but Jackson Powers Johnson is also a guy that has played guard, though, you know, probably works out better at center in the NFL because he's got some length limitations, but kind of is what it is. I get it. Versatility is hard to pass up here. Okay, we got pick 22, Philadelphia Eagles. They go with an edge player. They go with the Latu over a corner, which the corner's on the board. To be fair, well, we already saw Arnold, DeJean, Wiggins, and Mitchell go. So, I mean, some people like Rakestraw. Some people like Kool-Aid McKinstry. So I guess maybe for Mel, corner wasn't really on the table. The Latu is actually a really good value here. But, I mean, for the Eagles, this is just keeping a strength, you know? All right, pick 23. Houston Texans go with Tyler Guyton. Oh, man, some people ain't going to love this one. All right, so Tyler Guyton. When it comes to tackle prospects, at least in the first round, you're projecting what they can be, not what they currently are. People are like, man, I don't really like how he looked at the Senior Bowl. Did he look fast? Was he long? Okay. That's all I need to know. You're saying he's got tools. Let's coach that. Was he coachable at the Senior Bowl? Sure was. Sure was. Coaches were raving about him. So, yeah. Sorry. They're going to look at what he could become. Now, me personally, I liked Anton Harrison coming into last year's draft a little bit better than Tyler Guyton because I thought he was more well put together. But it's no denying the ceiling's probably much higher with Tyler Guyton. Now, for the Texans here, obviously you're going to be getting them to play right tackle, or are they going to just stick with Howard at guard? Probably most likely what you're going to do in this scenario, which then moves Scruggs back to center, which is probably where they want him to play anyway. Didn't really play that well at guard after he got healthy. So it gives your offensive line some good depth because then they still got like Jared Patterson there as a backup, who's honestly already looks like one of the better backups in the NFL. All right, Dallas Cowboys, they go with Marius Mims. Wow, man. Honestly, I'd rather these two tackle picks for the Dolphins than Graham Barton. But I'm not trying to rag on Graham Barton or throw any shade, man. It's just tackle's a more valuable position anyway. But they grab Mims. They grab a prospect who is straight up like toolsy as hell. We just talked about Tyler Guyton, and I would argue Marius Mims is more put together right now than Tyler Guyton. That's why he's higher on my board than he is, than Guyton is. But with Terrence Smith, a free agent, Mims, I don't know if you want to necessarily start him right away at left tackle. That's kind of the thing, like, man, do we want to just throw him into the fire and have him play a guy who hasn't really played a lot of college football? Do we want to throw him into the fire playing now on the opposite side of the offensive line? Mel talks about having him compete with Terrence Steele. They paid Terrence Steele quite a bit. Yeah, he had a bit of a down season, but kind of hoping he bounces back. But before we get into pick 25, what's crackalackin'? Is your boy Broshmo. Just in case you did not know so, go ahead, become bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up. If you enjoy the content, as always, let me know what you think in the comment section below, where we have that nice, beautiful football discourse. Let's go ahead, get into pick 25. Green Bay Packers, they go with Jordan Morgan. So I don't mind this because Morgan honestly could play guard right away if you want to see what you got in Rashad Weaver. If you want to be like, okay, he played really well last year. So let's see if we got our tackle and just have Jordan Morgan play guard because Runyon's a free agent. So flexibility. I kind of like that. Some people, some teams probably view Jordan Morgan as a guard. God, they probably do. So I'm a fan. I don't mind. I think it's a solid pick. If you're not going to go corner, I think getting a versatile offensive lineman kind of makes sense. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Keon Coleman makes too much sense. No Brian Thomas yet. So that's something to keep note of. Keon Coleman, it's a good pick. I mean, if you're looking for a replacement, a guy that can at least replace the skill set of Mike Evans, it's Keon Coleman. It's that guy. I think he's going to test well at the combine. People I know will hear like, oh, he struggles to separate, and they're going to think, oh, he's a bad athlete. No, just because you struggle to separate doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad athlete. Maybe not a fluent one, but doesn't mean you're slow or anything like that. But it's going to be it's going to be the 3 cone. It's going to be those agility drills, the shuttle. That'll really tell us how nuanced of a route runner Coleman can be. But if he's coming in to step into the Mike Evans role, not going to have to be that great of a route runner anyway. You really just got to use your size and use your speed. All right, we got pick 27. The Arizona Cardinals go with Darius Robinson. This is something I've talked about a little bit as a potential addition. Because remember, Jonathan Gannon, man, he used a very versatile front there when he was with the Eagles, where he would move guys all around. And Darius Robinson's a guy you can just move around. He's a guy that they currently don't have on their roster. And actually, very few rosters do have. So you'd be a really good addition, man. Another guy that I'm very curious to see how he tests out. You're also going to have to be like, when you see him testing out and compare him to the other edge players, you'd be like, oh yeah, he's also doing this with like 20 to 30 extra pounds. So keep that in mind. Context, people, context. Buffalo Bills, it's a wide receiver. It's Brian Thomas. Of course it is. It's amazing value. Yeah, I mean, few people are really taking anything other than a wide receiver here for the Bills because, well, typically the value is just too good. Typically, the value here to get a wide receiver, it's hard to pass up. Bills are sitting in a good spot where they're probably going to be staring at one of 3 to 4 receivers that they like, that they're willing to take there at 28. Detroit Lions, they go with TJ Tampa. TJ Tampa, get that hype. Golly, man. I don't think he's going to blow up the combine, but I think he's going to have a fairly good day, fairly good showing there at the combine. So I'm actually pretty happy about that. He's long, he's strong, he moves well, great wingspan. It'd be a good pickup for the Lions. I mean, the Lions, they need quarterback help. So get some youth, get some talent in there. Baltimore Ravens go with Kamari Lassiter. Okay. Lassiter, I feel more as a second round pick just because he's undersized, but technically one of the more polished, more refined guys in this class. So, like, I mean, I get it. You want a quarterback too, but it's like, you got a question. Can you get this guy maybe in the second round? I don't know. If you're the Ravens, you probably can't. Honestly, he's probably gone by the mid-second round. Like somewhere in the 40s, maybe early 50s. Ravens won't be picking again until what? Pick 62. So they will be at a Kamari Lassiter range. So, I mean, if you really like the guy, I guess you take him here. He's another guy that, you start looking at your top 50 and you're like, okay, we're not going to be able to get him at 62, but we can get him here at 30. So I get it. I understand it. Let's take a look at pick 31. The 49ers go with Chop Robinson. Ooh, dude. I hate how Mel just puts outside linebacker. Just say edge rusher, dude. Just say edge rusher. Like, is Chop Robinson, are you going to be dropping this guy into coverage like 10 times a game? No, you're not. But Chase Young's a free agent. They don't exactly have a ton cap space to spend, or at least to break the bank. So if they want to kind of replenish that defensive line, because keep in mind, man, Niners love the trenches. They like to have a deep rotation there. Then taking Chop Robinson, a very toolsy guy, and add him to the rotation there could go long ways. They've done a similar thing with Drake Jackson. But, I mean, granted, he was like a third-round pick. All right, Kansas City Chiefs, they take Xavier Worthy. Very, very nice. This was like, man, we miss Tyreek. Let's get speed. Xavier Worthy is that speed. And he's got a dog in him, too, man. He really, really does. It's just the ball skills come and they go, man. He's got some puzzling drops on tape. But he's someone that's actually really good at high pointing the catch point. Really is. So, like, Worthy... he's going to blow up the combine. He's, I guess, going to be a riser for some people. Like, where do I have you, Mr. Xavier Worthy, right now? I feel like I like him early to mid-second round. Yeah, mid-second round's kind of where I have him. Even if he blows the top off the combine, which he probably will, I don't see him moving up too much. But I don't know. We'll see. I get it. I get why you make this selection for the Chiefs. Because, like, everyone's mocking a receiver here. It really just depends on what type of receiver you want for the Chiefs. Who, by the way, just today released MVS. So maybe they're looking for, like, a Troy Franklin, A.D. Mitchell type. Just gonna put it out there. But hey, if you're interested in good draft and free agent fits for your team's needs, then check out the videos I got down here. I did one on the NFC and I did one on the AFC. So check those out. But as always, until next time, be easy, my friends. Later.